Hello everyone. Today's case is a tale of caution, and if it is reality, it is a scary one. On July 13th of 2023, just days ago as I'm filming this video, 25-year-old Carlee Nicole Russell, who went by Carlee, left her work at the Summit in Birmingham, Alabama, and decided to stop for food at a nearby restaurant for her and her mother. From there, she started a drive down Interstate 459 South near mile marker 11 in Hoover, Alabama. And as Carlee drove, she was on the phone with her brother's girlfriend when at one point she spotted what she thought was a young little boy around the age of a toddler walking along the interstate in a white t-shirt and diaper. And as anyone would be, I'm sure she was frightened that this little boy was going to wander into traffic, so she ended up pausing that phone call with her brother's girlfriend and calling 911. When the call ended with the operator, she ended up switching back to the original phone call she was on with her brother's girlfriend as she pulled over to the side of the road, which was actually a really smart thing for Carlee to have done, because the girlfriend would end up later being able to tell police that she heard Carlee get out of her vehicle and approach this toddler, and she heard Carlee ask the little boy if he was okay. However, the girlfriend didn't hear a response. Instead, she heard Carlee scream. And after that, Carlee never responded again. All she could hear was what sounded like rustling around as if the phone had been dropped on the ground and the sounds of the traffic on the interstate. The girlfriend immediately ended up running into the other room where her boyfriend and Carlee's mother was and ended up telling them what just happened. Using an app that they shared on their phones, they were able to locate where Carlee's phone was, and they ended up rushing to the scene. Police would end up arriving within 5 minutes of being dispatched, but neither Carlee nor child were located on scene, meaning that this little boy was most likely a ploy to kidnap an unassuming person stopping on the side of the road to try to help, which if true is absolutely sick and scary, because who wouldn't stop if they seen a child walking along an interstate? This case reminds me of those old baby crying outside on the porch ploys, or a woman screaming in the middle of the night. They're meant to make people want to help, and they can lead to some very scary situations. Now, Carlee's phone would later be located at the scene on the ground, and it was still off the hook because the girlfriend had never hung up the phone. They left it on the line just in case Carlee came back for whatever reason, but Carlee never came back. Her phone would be taken in for forensic testing, but as of this time, we don't have any information. Carlee's vehicle would also be located at the scene, and her door was open and the engine was still running. Her AirPods, her Apple Watch, and purse were located inside of the vehicle, and a hat and wig were located outside of the vehicle. A truck driver would later report seeing a man in khaki shorts leaning over Carlee's vehicle just moments before police arrived. There was also mention of a gray vehicle. Now, police would find tire tracks in the grass, but it wasn't muddy enough for them to determine what kind of vehicle it was because there wasn't much of an impression, but honestly, these tracks could have maybe been from anyone at any time. But from there, a 2-day search would commence and Carlee's story would go viral on social media.
Take a good look at the photo on the left. Hoover police investigating a very strange disappearance. They are searching for Carlee Russell. She goes by Carlee. And investigators say that Carlee vanished after reportedly seeing a toddler walking down I-459.
It happened around 9:34 last night, just before the John Hawkins Parkway exit. That is near the Target in Hoover. Police say she called 911 saying a toddler was walking down the side of the interstate.
They were unable to find her or a child in the area, and Hoover police have not received any additional calls of someone missing a small child. Detectives are currently investigating these incidents and are requesting the public's assistance to help locate Carlee Nicole Russell. She's described as a 25-year-old black female who is 5'4", 150 to 160 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, and white Nike tennis shoes. Carlee got off work last night around 8:20 p.m. from a business at the Summit in Birmingham. She's also believed to have stopped to pick up food from a business at the Colonnade before driving towards Hoover on I-459, where she stopped near mile marker 11. That location is between the Galleria flyover and exit 10 for Highway 150. A single witness has reported possibly seeing a gray vehicle with a light-complected male standing outside of Carlee's vehicle, but we have no further information on that individual or the vehicle at this time.
Drones would be used to search the area, the family would drive looking, and vigils would also be held in hopes of Carlee being found alive. A $25,000 reward would be offered that would eventually go all the way to $55,000 and beyond.
More than 24 hours since 25-year-old Carlee Russell of Hoover, Alabama was last seen. Authorities say she may have been abducted from the side of I-459 near mile marker 11. Last night, neighbors held a vigil. They hope and pray she'll be found. Fox's Taylor Pollock has much more on the search.
It was all Carlee Russell's neighbors could think to do. Pray. Just the only thing that I could think of to do was pray. I mean, what else is there to do? I know that there's a lot of people out there searching for her, and I feel like this is the first place that we needed to do, is just come before the Lord and just, you know, prayer is what I can do. I might not be able to get out and search for her, but I can do that.
Rallying around each other, praying for a girl they say often babysits many of their own children. For one father, today hit too close to home.
Our daughter just graduated from nursing school and travels down 459 all the time, and we know that she would, in a heartbeat, stop if she saw a toddler walking along the road. I mean, it's just human nature.
On June 15th, we then get the story of the Red Roof Inn. It goes that the family ended up receiving a phone call from who they thought was Carlee, saying that she was at the Red Roof Inn. Multiple cars of family members would end up driving to this Red Roof Inn in search for their loved one, hoping Carlee would be there. And they were desperate to find her, but the Red Roof Inn would actually end up calling 911 because carloads of people showed up at their business and were looking for a missing person that they didn't know about. It went as far as search and rescue being called to the Red Roof Inn along with authorities, but Carlee was not there. Now, this Red Roof Inn story has caused a lot of drama on social media, and it seems like there is a lot of rumors and speculation and confusion about it. But from everything I have seen, Carlee was not found at the Red Roof Inn, and it seems to have been a fake distress call to rile the family up and get them upset, get their hopes up. And we see this happen, unfortunately, with a lot of cases where there is false information reported, there are fake calls. We see it a lot where there's someone missing or someone's been murdered and someone will call in and claim to have murdered the person, but it's just a prank call. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sick individuals out in this world that for some reason get off on doing stuff like this, and I don't understand it, but they are out there. And in my opinion, that's what this was. And I wanted to talk about this Red Roof Inn story because it went viral on social media and I kept seeing people talking about it, even though it seems to have been false. People keep talking about it as if it's true and that Carlee was found there. On top of that, when it went viral, the family went and spoke out about it and said that it was not true. So I wanted to clarify because it doesn't seem to be like knowledge out there that this was a fake story. As you can see, the family made multiple posts saying it was not a real story. It wasn't true that Carlee was found there. But this case continued to get stranger and stranger because out of the blue, at 10:44 p.m. that same night, someone began banging on Carlee's parents' front door, the same home in Hoover, Alabama that Carlee lived in with her family. And when the family came to the door and opened it, Carlee was standing outside. Hoover paramedics would quickly respond to the scene along with police, and Carlee would be taken to the local hospital for evaluation, and she would later be released. Now, at this point, we don't really have any information on what happened to Carlee during those 2 days that she was missing, or any knowledge on how she even got away and got back home. Police would end up coming out on July 18th saying that Carlee had been seen on surveillance footage walking along the sidewalk alone in her neighborhood the night she came back home. Police also said that they spoke to Carlee very briefly after her return and are waiting for her to be made available to obtain a more detailed statement in the sequence of events during the time frame. Now, I wanted to talk about Carlee for a moment. Carlee graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology from Auburn University at Montgomery and was actually working at a spa at the time of her disappearance. I also seen that she's a nursing student, so with all of that combined, of course, if she's seen a young child on the side of the road, she would have pulled over and stopped to help them. Again, as most of us would. This is a situation that's so hard to say, don't do that. Because she kind of did everything right. She called the police, she had someone on the phone with her when she stopped. I guess the only thing you could say is don't stop, but what if that really was a little boy running along the side of the road that could have got hit by a car? That's the dilemma. But this case has garnered a lot of talk online and a lot of controversy. A big question being how no one else seen that little boy wandering along the side of the interstate, and there were no other reports to police to substantiate this. Chief Durs is saying, and I quote, "There was some wooded area near where Miss Russell pulled over in her car, but track dogs had combed those parts and no consequential evidence turned up," end quote. Which I do think is really interesting to note if you do look at the aerial like Google Maps view of where Carlee went missing. Beyond the Woods is actually like a part of a subdivision. So there could be a possibility where a little boy could have wandered through those woods from his home and made it to the interstate. Now, I'm not saying that's true because if that were true, you think Carlee would have saved this little boy, he would have went back home and she would be a hero. She wouldn't have just gone missing. On top of that, it seems that the dogs couldn't pick anything up, which is also very strange. But then this video was released that made this case even stranger. The Hoover Police Department ended up obtaining traffic footage that appeared to show the moment when Carlee ended up flashing her back emergency taillights on the interstate, called 911 to report the child, and pulled over in her red Mercedes-Benz. It's also noted that from the time Carlee stops to the time that the first officer arrives, no other vehicle pulled over. So the witness reporting seeing a gray vehicle and a man doesn't really make sense, and it seems to kind of been disputed because of this. On top of that, when this video was enhanced because it was so dark out that night, there's no obvious child walking along the interstate either that Carlee was following. Carlee has her hazards on for quite a long time before she actually crawls to a stop. And she ends up actually going and stopping near where these signs are. But even though this video was enhanced, between the combination of the video being very grainy and because of the flashing lights, it's actually really hard to see like Carlee even getting out of her vehicle and anything happening at all because of these lights. And let me know if you see anything. Now, to be honest, when I first watched this video, I didn't see anything. I was really confused how anyone was seeing anything at all. But apparently, as I just said, Carlee is kind of standing where these lights are flashing, which makes it very hard to see. Now, a lot of people are saying that if you zoom in, you can see a change in the pixels in which looks like a small child or someone on the ground, and you could also see people moving near where those signs are.
I can't sleep because I had to look over this footage. I swear that's a little person or someone kneeling right there. She literally pulls up to that person, and then fast forward, she gets out of the car, goes around, and then there's a person right there. You could see their head moving back and forth, right to left. Someone moving, someone else.
And people are claiming you can see a struggle happening. Now, I think if something was happening, this video is just too grainy to really tell either way. But this video made people really think Carlee was just crazy and made all of this up, and that there was no child there at all, and that she just wandered into the woods herself. But in my opinion, it was so dark that night. I think there is a possibility that we just can't see it on this footage because of how grainy it is and because of the placement of the lights flashing. But at this point, there seems to be two different camps of people. Ones who think Carlee was having a mental health crisis and made all of this up, and the others who think she was truly abducted. But honestly, I think it's too early to tell, but we are left with a lot of questions. Like, why did it take Carlee so long to pull to a stop? There's no way that she could have seen a child running along the woods that fast, that she drove that far before she pulled to a stop. And so the theory is that Carlee actually seen the child when she was driving by the first time, and she doubled back onto the interstate, and that's why she was crawling along the side of the freeway, trying to figure out at what point she had seen the child. And when she finally seen the child again, she stopped. People are also bringing up the question how no one else has seen this child. Now, if people were driving that fast and not paying attention, I think there's a chance that they couldn't have seen. Again, no one even pulled over to help Carlee when she was pulled over on the side of the road. There's also the question of if Carlee was abducted, why would her abductors let her go? Now, I've actually recently heard a story similar to this where a woman pulled over on the side of the road to help some men, and they ended up kidnapping her and essaying her in a field off of a freeway. And that's all they really wanted, was to essay her, and then they ended up leaving her in the field and just going. She later actually wandered back to her vehicle where someone seen her and called police, and when police came, she was just so out of it, she couldn't even explain to them what happened to her. So could this have just been a ploy to lure a unsuspecting woman in to essay her? I think it's a chance that this could have been. I think that's a possibility. Another question I've been seeing a lot online is if this child is a real child, where are its parents? Why hasn't it been reported missing? And that's a really loaded question. First off, how do we know that this child isn't being used by its own parents to lure people? There are unfortunately some really sick individuals out there that I wouldn't put past them. On the other hand, there are so many missing people and missing children reported in the United States that this child could have been kidnapped from anywhere in the country or world even and been being used there, and we wouldn't even know because this child could have been reported missing across the country or in even a different country, and it could have been reported missing years before, and so we wouldn't even know that this child maybe was reported missing. Again, the description of this child is so vague that There's not really any way of knowing whose child it could even be if he was reported missing. Carlee's boyfriend, Tamar Simmons, came out on social media writing, and I quote, "All I ask from everyone right now is to be respectful of Carlee's situation. She was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours, so until she's physically and mentally stable again, she's not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment," end quote. And I do want to make it clear that the family is disputing everyone's speculation online. Her boyfriend, her parents, they've all come out saying that she was in fact kidnapped. She was fighting for her life. And I'm sure if that's true, she is in shock and she's probably trying to recover from everything that just happened to her. But people want rushed answers, and that can lead to this mass hysteria of people making up rumors. If this woman was just kidnapped for over 48 hours, who knows what she went through? And all of y'all are out there demanding answers and calling her a liar. I'd personally rather believe that this isn't a hoax and that she actually went through all of this and she's trying to recover before, things come out, instead of victim blaming someone because you're not getting your answers on social media quick enough. Because there's a chance that Carlee just survived something extremely horrendous and everyone's online calling this a hoax and calling her a liar. That is pretty fucked up. But hey, if I'm wrong, I will be wrong, but I'd rather have believed someone who may have been a victim than to victim blame someone who just survived something that bad. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. On June 18th as well, Carlee's parents, Talithia and Carlos, spoke on the Today Show about their daughter's disappearance, saying that she was absolutely abducted and has given her statement to police who are pursuing her abductor. When asked what Carlee went through for those 48 hours that she was missing, her parents said, and I quote, "There was definitely moments where she fought for her life," end quote. I'm gonna play that for you now.
What did you do when you saw her?
We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her. But it's okay.
Can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
But they say speculation about the circumstances surrounding Carlee's disappearance are only making things worse.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
Her family now urging the public to let the investigation play out, but mentioning an abductor. Her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
NBC News has reached out to the Hoover Police Department to ask whether they're looking for an individual involved. Police have just said they're following up on all information provided by Carlee.
And when I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life. There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
But she made it back to you.
She made it back.
So what do you all think about this? Do you think this is a hoax, or do you think that this is the truth? You know my opinion already on this. As of right now, the Hoover Police have released a statement saying, and I quote, "Detectives are combing through numerous pieces of evidence collected from the time she went missing until her return home and beyond. Each piece of information is helping investigators reconstruct Carlee's movements during the time she went missing," end quote. I also seen that the police are going to be having a press conference today as I'm filming this video, but I wanted to get this video up first just so we can talk about the entire case as a whole. And then if there's any information in the press conference to talk about, I will definitely update you all on that in the next video. But as of right now, I'm going to leave this case in your hands. I want to know what you all think. Please be respectful though. There's definitely a way that you can have your own opinion but still be respectful. And of course, I will keep you all updated when new information comes out. So as always, if you're not subscribed, I definitely recommend you hit that subscribe button so that you can stay updated, especially when I post an update on this video. I hope you all stay safe out there, lock your windows and doors, and I will see you in the next video.